Welcome to the Flight Club Podcast, a woman's guide to leaning out. We give you a behind-the-scenes look at business launch and growth through the stories of successful female entrepreneurs. Here's your host, Felina Hansen, founder and CEO of Hera Hub.
Hello and welcome. I'm excited for my interview today with Aida Mandić. She is a Bosnian American author, poet, songwriter, and internet entrepreneur, as well as a motivational speaker. She is extremely prolific and versatile author, having written over 100 books, most of which she's published, not all of them. She's got a lot on her plate. So getting to publish over 100 books takes a lot of time. She did this in a span of 5 years, which is incredible. She often writes about social justice, her background, her upbringing, which we're going to talk about, her ambition, courage, uniqueness, and what happened to her in regards to discrimination, bullying, violence, of course, war, power, activism, beauty, rebellion, creativity, love, and critical thinking. And she writes about her past experiences in order to share her wisdom with others. And I'm really excited to learn about this woman. Has so much going on. It is absolutely amazing. So much in regards to education, job experience. It's just absolutely incredible. So welcome to the show today, Aida.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about, your entrepreneurial adventures. There are many. I know you started your entrepreneurial ventures at the age of 19 when you started Searchkey from your dorm room at University of Michigan. I want to start with that, but if you'd like, let's even go back a little further, because obviously, growing up has had an effect on the work that you're doing now. So start wherever you would like, wherever you think it's important for us to begin.
For sure. So I was born in Bosnia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, right? And war broke out in April of 1992. I had to be taken out of Sarajevo, the capital city of Bosnia and Herzegovina, in a bulletproof vest, right? And it was a horrifying journey. And my father was shot in his ankle by a Serbian Chetnik sniper. He survived, but to this day, he has very, very serious consequences as a result of that. He has diabetes, he has high blood pressure, he's had severe heart problems. And he's got like mental health issues. And he's had multiple surgeries on his leg. So in terms of problems, I know all about them. And very, very different flavors of hell. That's what I like to call them. And so I went from Bosnia as a refugee to Croatia. Then I went to a refugee camp in the Czech Republic. Then I went to France. Then I went to Malaysia. Then I came to the US at the ripe old age of 7.
Wow.
And I'm an only child as well. I'm an only child. So I don't like to complain, but oh my God, it was rough. It was really rough.
Wow. You went through so much by the age of 7. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it was quite a journey. Yeah. So Bosnia, Croatia, Czech Republic, France, Malaysia, and then the US, like a lot of countries and a lot of different kinds of people. And different social, like, how would I put this? Like social levels of living. Like, for example, you go from being a refugee. And when I lived in Paris with my mom, and my aunt was there as well, and her 2 kids. And the reason we even got into Paris in the first place was thanks to my aunt, who during the 1984 Winter Olympics in Sarajevo met a French journalist and his wife. I do have pictures of them, but yeah, I met them, and they helped us, get out of the Czech Republic, out of the refugee camp. I wouldn't be alive probably if it hadn't been for them, because what he managed to do. I don't know if she was involved in this in any way. I mean, I was a kid. Like, it's not like I'm asking questions like, a journalist, but he said, we have to get him out of the refugee camp because we could be shipped back to Bosnia, right? And so what happens is you're either going to get out of the refugee camp and go back, or somebody's going to help you go to a different country that is not the refugee camp, right?
Yeah.
And so what he did was ethically right, but probably very legally wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's always like that kind of fine line, especially when you're a refugee. What I find absolutely despicable, absolutely disgusting, is that to this day, international law, it's like basically like if you go to a concentration camp, you're a journalist, and you take pictures of innocent, people being stuck in a concentration camp, and you can see they're dying, right? It's like, you don't want to take them out of the concentration camp. That wouldn't be good, because they wouldn't be legally, right.
Jeez,
You know what I mean?
And it's still going
yeah.
on today in so many countries, even at
Yeah.
our southern borders here in the US. I mean, it just there's so
Yeah.
much happening.
Yeah.
Ida, I'm going to fast forward us just a little bit
Yeah.
into college and talk about your first entrepreneurial venture, Searchkey, because you have so much that you've accomplished in an amazing amount of time that I want to make sure we have time to get to some of it. So let's hop ahead. I'm sure there is much more to unpack between the age of 7 and college.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But in interest of getting to all of the accomplishments that you've made in the business world, let's hop forward. So you're at University of Michigan, Michigan, and you come up with your first startup idea. What was that?
So actually, my first idea for Searchkey was not called Searchkey. It went through different names. So I called it Guide. Guide. I called it Enigma, after Alan Turing's Enigma machine. I thought that was a really cool name. And then I called it How To, like how, and then the number 2, So I went through a lot of different phases in terms of, figuring out how to name it, figuring out like which direction it's going to go. And the University of Michigan, oh God, yeah, we have an amazing entrepreneurship program, and I went through the speaker series courses at the University of Michigan, and so I got to meet like really amazing, like brilliant entrepreneurs, and I took notes. I was like the only person that sat in the front row in the middle, directly facing the speaker, armed with only my notebook and pen, and taking notes down diligently. And I was just like, well, I'm going to figure out how to make this happen, and I figured that's the first step. You have to be resilient, and you have to be willing to stand out. You have to have that courage and drive and ambition to just take risks, and not care. Like, there were people staring at me because I was in the front row and center. They're like, well, like what is with this girl? No, literally, like the next couple of rows behind me were completely empty. people would sit like maybe the 7th row, and I'm not even kidding. And they would just sit all the way back. I'm like, what? The speaker's not gonna bite you. Come on, you know what I mean? I wish like the front row, I wish I had people sitting next to me, but that didn't happen. So that was a lesson in and of itself. Like, just go out there, just ask people. I immediately after the speaker would like ask, does anybody have questions? I would be the first person raising my hand up in the air. They would bring me the microphone and I would ask the questions. And then I would get up immediately after, they finished their speech, whatever they had to say, get up, walk onto the stage, look them square in the eye and ask them questions like a journalist, like a very, very direct person, very assertive. That's something I learned over the course of my life,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Okay, so let's get into what is Searchkey.
Searchkey is an education technology platform and database that enables the path to financial and academic success for students. And how it does this is providing a database that offers over 50 different categories, such as scholarships, awards, fellowships, grants, hackathons, cups, bowls, like it just goes on. For students, it's just different resources in one place, because you can have resources, but they don't mean anything if they're not organized, right? And then we offer like revolutionary templates where you can save everything in one place. So my main goal is to have everything in one place, because I like organization. I don't like having like scattershot, information. And this is the primary thing I've noticed in regards to the internet as well. Like you go on Google, but what if you don't know how to find what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Like you go into the store, right? And you ask the cashier, you ask like whoever's working there, the associates, you're like, well, where can I find these shoes? Where can I find this dress? Whatever it is, right? But, a restaurant, same thing. You have a menu, but you don't have that in regards to the internet. Nobody's telling you like, well, we offer this selection. It's not very helpful.
To even know what to search for. And I think that's where I was just listening to a report this morning, this, OpenAI and their new chat platform, I'll just call it, right, that everybody's so on fire about, and utilizing AI, and folks are saying, well, this is, students can write papers with this new AI technology, and it's totally going to change how journalists work and all these things. And I think, to your point, it is going to change, but it's an opportunity for us to learn how to search better, right? How do we even tell the system what we want? And that will be a new skill. So I love that you put this together. I mean, it's just an incredible opportunity for folks. It looks like high school, graduate, undergrad, anybody who's looking for scholarships or hackathons or opportunities to be recognized. You've got it all in one place.
Exactly. Thank you so much for the kind words. But yeah, I also want to say something else. I think that where we're heading in terms of search engines, and in terms of the internet, is we're going to have specialized search engines. And like, I think what's going to happen is like everything nowadays is becoming customized, and I think we're going to have a very customized internet experience, user experience. Like it's all about user experience, user interface, right? So I think we're going to head down that path where students, or anybody really, is going to know how to define and refine what they are looking for, and it will be more readily available to them. I think that's the path we're going down. I think that's going to be the next big thing, because okay, well, this is kind of, cool, but Lord Byron was a poet, and I know I'm going off on a tangent here.
No,
Lord
it's okay.
Byron,
But this, I mean, I know you read a lot of poetry, so this will lead us into
no,
that
no,
conversation.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
It's all
Okay.
related. It's all
Okay.
don't worry.
Yes, I figured.
Lord Byron was a poet, right? And his daughter, Ada Lovelace. I know Ida Lovelace. It's funny. The people tell me that. Yeah, Ada Lovelace. It's like one letter difference. She was the founding mom of a computer science, and she
Yes,
called,
yes.
yeah, and she called computer science like she basically called it like poetry. I'm
Yeah.
not kidding, you can look it up. And yeah, really. And so I think that in a way computer science is like poetry. I just wanted to mention that. I do
Yeah.
think it's fascinating ways in which we can combine things, because it's like art.
Yeah.
And if you maybe view it through that kind of lens, even though maybe it seems to some people like really out there, really far-fetched, um that's where you really become an innovator, because an innovator gets to the root of things, right? That's what they do before anybody maybe else does. So like I think it's brilliant
Yes.
how you can combine fields in different ways like that. I mean, she was into mathematics, like really mathematics and poetry. Those are like, they seem like two different worlds, but I like how, like I think Steve Jobs said, creativity is combining things in different ways. That's what
Yeah.
creativity is. I think that's brilliant.
Absolutely. So I want to talk a bit more about your startup, your company, because I mean, some of the stats around what you have achieved, and I invite everybody to look at your LinkedIn profile. It is one of the most well-built profiles I've ever seen. You have so much
Thank you.
experience. I just,
Thank you.
as I dove in
Yeah.
to get to know you, I was like, oh my goodness, this girl has got this.
Yeah.
And on the education front as well. So you've
Yeah.
been awarded $150,000 in scholarships and merit-based grants.
Yes.
Full
Yes.
ride scholarship offers to
Yes.
several universities totaling over $1 million. So
Yes.
really, truly, you are the expert, as somebody building this, has built this platform on scholarships, and just connecting folks with the resources that are out there.
For sure. So I've always been a researcher.
Mhm.
That's been my thing. I like to dig deep because I don't want to stay asleep. I know that, right? but it does make sense, right? So when I was 13 years old, I was, hanging out in my room, and I realized that I had nobody that I could ask to fund my education, because my parents didn't get their rightful jobs in the United States. That's just unfortunately the sad truth of being an immigrant, really.
Yeah.
You get your identity robbed from you, and that position, well, I should, well, this is going to sound like a harsh word, but it basically kind of forced me to look into opportunities and resources at a young age. And yeah, so I was 13 years old. I was hanging out in my room, and I just went on different websites and looked up scholarships, and I didn't like them. I got to be blunt with you. I didn't like them. And why I didn't like them, that's the interesting part. So I didn't like the loading time, like of the sites. Like I would literally take a timer and I would pay attention to how long it would take to load, a website. And it didn't impress me. Anything, I know, as a 13-year-old kid, it's like, wow, you're, no, but because I was always forced to just be, how would I put this? Just getting to the point, because of my background. So Yeah, and so I jotted down notes in my notebook. I love notebooks. If you're like getting the, getting that view of me, I love notebooks. But yeah, I wrote down ideas. Like I wrote down pros and cons of a website, right?
Mhm.
And critical thinking, because that's what my life taught me to do. A lot of critical thinking. And I wrote down, for example, I wasn't satisfied with the loading time. I wasn't satisfied with the design. I actually thought that, getting to the information on the website was taking way too long.
Mm.
And like it would be at the bottom of a website. I'm like who's gonna scroll all the way down there? When it's for something like that, these students have no time. They don't have time to like cook, clean, go to school, take care of siblings, take care of their parents, maybe work for a part-time job. It's just too much, and then extracurricular activities and then grades. I took all of that into account. I'm like, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so I figured, like, how long would the typical student have time to approach, these resources and opportunities? How long would it take?
Yeah.
And yeah, I jotted down notes with all of that information, in my mind. And then I imagined what a typical schedule would look like. And then I adjusted according to that. So yeah, that was me at the age of 13. Not it was more a matter of really necessity than choice, really,
Yeah.
to be that wise at that age. So yeah.
Well, and you'd been through so much. I mean, that obviously you had a different perspective and lens on the world.
Oh yeah. Gratitude is my attitude.
Yes, that's amazing. Well, I want to pivot over to your authorship and poetry, 100 books, and also a poet. Talk a little bit about the writing that you're doing and what you hope to achieve with your writing.
Oh God. Yeah, that's a tough journey, writing, really, because I have written a lot of books. I have published a lot of books, and I have to tell you, it is very mentally and emotionally taxing, very taxing, because I write about different aspects of life. Yeah, I have written about war and bullying and all of that, but I've written about love and friendship and just questioning society on multiple levels. Because there have been many things that I have I've not been okay with, and that's really putting it lightly. Not okay with that is like not even scratching the surface. And so I found myself in many times in my life in a situation where I was disrespected, I was degraded, because of where I came from, and I didn't really have anybody to talk to about it. So I wrote, and that was my voice, and that was my way out. I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. And it developed over time. It culminated, and I was like, wow, I have a lot to say. And yeah, I think it's really important to writing. Oh my God. Situations in life, you sometimes you're just forced to just keep it to yourself. Like I think we've all been through that. Just keep it to yourself, like hush, zip it, like nobody wants to hear your side. And then you're like, you know what? No, you're not gonna do that to me. So that's what I would do. I would write. And I wanted to write this about different types of injustice, different forms, not just war, just daily obstacles, because I wanted people to understand that I understand them.
Yeah.
I want them to know that I understand them. I can understand their position. I can understand their suffering. I can understand their dilemmas. I'm an empath. I am an empath, like I don't know, like whether there has been, I'm about as like as true an empath as there I think ever has been, because I really care. I really care. I will listen, and I pay attention to how people feel. Like I will literally, like I will sit down at the, at a corner of the street, and I will like I will watch the people. I will observe them, and I will jot down notes. Like I kind of look at them like they're walking like paintings or sculptures. I do that in my free time. And I pay attention to things that are not said.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I would say that that has been my main main goal in writing. I write down things that are not said because somebody just doesn't care. They're not paying attention, they just don't care. They kind of bulldoze over you. But those are important aspects of life, in relationships, like jobs, and family, friends, like whatever it is, it just gets bulldozed over, and
Yeah.
it's not okay. And I really, it's not just always about, all right, well, this is the set of things we're gonna do today. It's not always about that. It's like, listen, have you paid attention to me the last 5 months? Have you? And it's like, yeah, I have. Like, no, you haven't. And you just, yeah, I just want people to know I'm listening.
Yeah,
I
no,
care. I
it's
understand. I really understand.
well, it's interesting because I mean, I'm on your website right now, and the just the variety of books on different types of things, I mean, is just absolutely incredible. I mean, that you have
Yeah,
so
yeah,
many different passions and interests. It's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very blunt. I just get to the point. I don't like fluff, like sugar coating, like the surface. It's like, what's eating away at you? Like, you talk to somebody and they're like, oh yeah, everything's fine. And then and you're like, really? Is everything fine? Like, and it's not that I want to make them feel worse about what they're going through. It's like, can I help you tackle this, and they're just keeping it all inside. I don't want that to happen. So that's why I write about it. I just want everything out on the surface. Let's just tackle this together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to pivot back over to, obviously writing and publishing is very entrepreneurial, but I want to also just touch on any other startups that you've had over time. I know that you've been involved in a lot of different things, blockchain and all kinds of different really cool technologies. Is there one or two other projects that you've worked on that you want to highlight?
Well, I did Idea Gist, but I really it's a blockchain incubator, and it's really cool because it helps people, start their project and then find other people that are also doing projects, and I think that, well, blockchain, I don't know. I do believe that it's an interesting concept,
Yeah.
where there's so much, security,
Yeah.
in regards to technology, because really, who thought technology could be secure, right? But yeah, but I I think I'm more interested, aside from blockchain, in specialized search engines. I really do think they're gonna be the next big thing, because, and I'm saying this for this reason alone. Um, Blockchain was started in the 1990s, right?
Mhm.
And I think it has taken a very long time. I mean, if you think about like when it started to develop, right?
Yeah.
And I think really, like, Google and similar search engines like Yahoo, Bing, mm, I believe that they are on to the next big thing, more so
Mhm.
than blockchain. I'm not degrading blockchain by any means. I believe it in as well, but in terms of what is going to develop faster, which direction is going to go, I do think it's specialized search engines. And I have a reason for this. I have seen the enormity with which, people look up information. Like I said, they don't always know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
But I really think blockchain, it's more about securing, payments. It's more about making sure that, transactions are safe online.
Yeah.
However, information has always been the cornerstone of society, if you think about it, right? I know that's like a really broad statement to make, but I think anything at all that has to do with storing information, saving it, organizing it, I think that is more important to people. That's more the center focus than security. And I know that sounds like,
Yeah.
again, sounds like, whoa, girl, but yeah, because why do people care more about information, it seems, than security? Think
Yeah.
about it, right?
Yeah.
Go on Google, just see I'm saying, go on Google. But yeah, it's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
They care more about what is available, what they're looking for, than how to keep things safe. That's interesting. And I think also that, I mean, not to get into like philosophy or anything, but I think it's important, if you want to understand society, if you want to understand trends, if you want to understand business, finance, investing, and all of that, it's important to look into that.
Yeah.
What do people think are important, and what trends do people think are important, and why?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
then which companies, which like time eras, which times of centuries have they shifted their attitudes in that direction. And that's really when you're going to be on the cutting edge, right? You can't always be on the cutting edge. You gotta keep changing your knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Your knowledge and ideas. I
Well,
know I'm really sorry for, like, the I think I write and I speak and I read in very like broad.
no, it's
So
okay. You're obviously brilliant, Ida, and you have,
thank you.
I mean, you've done so much in such a short period of time. It's absolutely incredible. I really want to encourage folks to go to your website. So, and I'm going to spell it out. We'll have this obviously in the show notes, but Mandić is how you say your last name, but it's
Yes.
your website is your full name, AIDAMAN as in Nancy, DIC. And Ida Mandić is the website.com, and your
Yes.
books, your about section, folks are able to contact you. I mean, I really, really strongly encourage folks, and each of your books, you can click through to that book on Amazon, the books that have
For
been
sure.
published. I
Yep.
know you've written over 100, and
It takes time. Yeah, it takes time to publish. Oh my
Yeah,
God. Yeah.
that's just absolutely incredible. I'm excited to check out Born to Be Heroic. It looks really cool. I love the cover.
Yeah. Thank you.
Super interesting. Well, we could talk for days and weeks about all the amazing things you've done, Ida. But I'll let our listeners explore from here and go to your website and learn more about you and connect with Ida on LinkedIn. Like I said, I've never seen somebody with so much experience, so much, I mean, speaking and education. I mean, you have done so much. It's just absolutely incredible. It's been a lot of fun getting to know you a little bit.
Thank you. I want to recommend a book of mine. It's the most recent one.
Awesome.
It's called The Life of a Refugee.
Okay. Awesome.
The Life of a Refugee. And it really goes into detail what it means to be a refugee. And it explains a lot of the suffering, but it also, I think, brings to the surface the faults of international law.
Yeah.
the mistakes that they make, because I want to just mention this like very quickly. Sorry for, going off on this tangent, but Nusreta Sivats, that's Nusreta space Sivac, Nusreta Sivats. You can look her up online. She survived Omarska, camp. She was tortured and raped during the course of the Bosnian War. An incredible activist. Why is it that the world had to wait until the 1990s for Nusreta Sivats, who spearheaded, a movement? She was a pioneer in making rape in the context of war an international war crime. The world had to wait until the 1990s for that to happen. And I'm just wondering why. What have we been doing until then?
Yeah.
Like in Ukraine, what's happening in Ukraine right now? Like, it keeps happening. War keeps happening. It's just so stupid and evil that, war is happening. But yeah, I talk about things like that, and it's just like, I guess it's just like, we're so focused on like survival and money and family and friends, but you know what? We have to think about things like that as well. Like, if you find yourself in a war zone, you will care about your rights. You know what I mean? Human rights. That is something very, very, very important.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for doing important work. I'm excited to dive into all the amazing things you've done, and I will absolutely pick up the book, Life of a Refugee. It looks like you just published it like Friday,
yes,
like a couple days ago. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I know. I publish like really quickly. I can write a book in about an hour. I'm not kidding. In an hour, like I can write a book about anybody, really. Just give me enough information about somebody and like what topic they want me to write on, and I can write a book on anyone or anything, really. So
yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time, Ida. It's been a true pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Felina.
Thank you for joining this week's episode of Flight Club, sponsored by Hera Hub. We look forward to sharing more success stories with you soon.